Good morning, my name is Ian Smith of blog post site northernlink.co.uk. Also, you can find me on Twitter at northernlink. I specialise in the installation of Lync 2010-2013 with enterprise voice capabilities, and today what we're going to do is run through a installation of a newly certified SBC to the Lync market. This is from provider or vendor Ferrari. This is a virtual appliance which I think is really hitting a niche market within media gateways for Lync. It's a 1 or 2 CPU, 2 gig of RAM, some hard disk space running through a Windows server. The virtual machine is quite happy running in both Hyper-V and VMware. Today I'll be doing my demonstration and this web video in Hyper-V. My lab is made up of a domain controller running Windows Server 2012 R2, a Lync Standard Edition front end with co-locator mediation services, again running Windows 2012 R2, and also a one single client install, which is a Windows 8.1 running the Lync 2013 client with the latest November update applied. So the first part of the installation of this SBC appliance is to add our virtual machine, which is going to run the Ferrari SBC, into our domain. So to do that, I'm going to jump onto the domain controller in my lab, go to the DNS settings, just navigate down to forward lookup zones. My internal DNS zone is northernlink.local. First thing I'm going to do is just do a quick check on what is my latest IP address. As you can see, it's .62, so I'm going to just jump back, right hand click, new host, give it a name, Ferrari SBC, and I'm just going to give it an IP address of 192.168.1.63, the next one in line. Okay, that. Press done on that, and let's just have a quick look down and see if that's in there. And as you can see, it's in there, ready to go. So we're almost done at that point. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to minimize that and jump over to the Ferrari gateway. Now that we know our IP address of our virtual gateway, what we need to do now is we need to now go and install the configuration file, which is actually going to be our driver for actually doing the config of the appliance. So to do that, let's just minimize our gateway. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump back to the standard edition front end, because I'm going to actually install the configuration and the syslog files within the front end. So to do that, I'm just going to open up File Explorer, under Users, under Public Downloads, and then as you can see, I've got 3 files. That was the original gateway appliance, which we've now spun up, and that's ready to go. Here's the actual configuration folder or executable, and here's the syslog. So we're going to just select the configuration one. On selecting this, wanting a bit more privileges, so we'll click yes to that. So we've only got options of United States and German. As you can see, there's a bit of a typo there in English. It's capital C, not capital K, but you know, by the by on that. Let's OK that. Just minimize that for everybody to see. So it's still requiring additional software to be installed. So let's go ahead and just allow it to install that. So we're going to click install. We'll watch this run on. So we'll watch this go in here. It doesn't take that long to actually install the configuration files. So what we'll do is we'll accept the license agreement. So click on next. We'll leave that as Windows user as the username. Actually, you know, I'm actually going to not do that. I'm going to change that to SRV underscore link, because that is my admin user. I'm not going to put any more information than that. Click on next. I'm going to install it to the C drive of this machine and let that just run through. Right, there you go, as simple as that. That's now installed, so let's just jump to our program files, and let's just navigate across until we see it. There we go, Office Master Gateway, so let's select it. So within the configuration executable for the gateway, what we're going to do is we're going to just select the connect option. We're we're going to type in our IP address we allocated to. In this case, it's .235. The password for all Ferrari gateways is OMC, and what we just need to do is click on OK. So yeah, again, OMC, Office Master Communications, is abbreviated. So click OK. This will then go away and try and find our gateway. First thing of interest is you can see it's not actually licensed, so we need to do something about that straight away. So we'll go into that in a second, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and change my IP address to the one I want it to be, not the one it's pre-allocated. So to do that, we're just going to click on the change IP address. I'm going to tell it to use a static IP address, and the one which we put into DNS at the start of this video guide was 63. So I'm just going to check that just to make 100% sure. So back onto my domain controller and into DNS, and as you can see, Ferrari SBC is .63, so we can minimize that, and we can just jump back to our configuration file, and we can say our preferred DNS as well is .50, because that's mine. My default gateway is .1.1, so let's OK that. Yeah, so the gateway now needs to restart, so we'll just allow that to do that for a couple of seconds, and then we'll continue with the installation. So as you could see, the IP address has changed, the default gateway is still the same. That actual restart of the gateway took in total 74 seconds in my lab as well, so just for records, it's not instant, it does take a little bit of time. So now we're back on track with our configuration. What we're going to do is we're going to actually sort this licensing issue out, and we're going to just select the button down here, which is the licensing manager. So if you click on the advanced, this is where you would actually place a license file, but what we're going to do is go back to the common file. We're going to click on activate, and then we're going to click on request trial via the internet. So let's just do that and see what it says. So once you've filled in the information on the Ferrari website, what will happen then is you will get an email. On that email will be an attachment of a .fif file. You need to copy this locally to your machine because this is your certificate what you need to install. So the way to install it is on our configuration tool, we're going to go to Edit, Manage Licenses, and then we're going to click on Install Licenses. In here, you then need to navigate to wherever you place that license. For myself, I've already done this process, so it's already installed locally. You select your license, the FIF file, and that installs. As you can see, I've already done it, so we've now got all the green ticks to say that we're licensed up. This is a trial license for 30 days, so if you are going to take this further forward, you do need to speak to Ferrari about getting a more permanent license. So that's it for the licensing. We're actually done at that point now. What we're going to do now is we're just going to jump back onto the configuration tool, and we're going to actually set up our login. This is a syslog to fact find any problems what you might have. So I'm going to actually specify my syslog server as my front end, which I just need to find the IP address. So let's just do a quick run on CMD. So ipconfig. So it's .51. So I'm going to change that to 192.168.1.51. We're going to leave it to 514 and UDP. Interestingly, other gateway manufacturers also use 514 and UDP as well, so it's interesting that Ferrari have chosen the same tact on that. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to make sure some of the basic settings are already set. So these are fundamental for the actual successful working of a gateway. So within the configuration tool, what we're going to do is we're going to click on Edit, we're going to click on Operation Mode and make sure we're set to gateway mix. Then we're going to go into the configuration mode and click on Advanced. We're happy with that. And then we also just check our logins all set up. So this is actually going to do the sys login against the Lync standard edition front end, which I'm actually showing you at this moment. So we'll just OK that. I'm just going to jump to the syslog, and as you can see, if I go to the start server now, this should start now listening against .63. So that's already set up. That install was very basic, nothing special there. As you can see, it's now starting to listen for traffic. So we're all good to go on that point as well. So I'll just stop that, and then we'll move on to actually do the main configuration. Okay, so the next stage now is to start putting some configuration around the SIP trunk association with Lync. So if you are doing a SIP trunk, traditionally for Ferrari, what you do is you set up two actual rules, one for inbound SIP connectivity and then the other rule for outbound SIP connectivity. For myself, though, for this guide, I'm actually going to just use the one trunk for inbound and outbound. So to do this, what we need to do is we need to go back to our configuration. We click on the Change Settings button at the bottom. And as you can see, we've got PCM1 and PCM2. So traditionally, what we should be doing is PCM1 is the connectivity from Lync to the gateway. PCM2 is from SIP to the gateway. So that's a way of identifying it. So we'll look at the PCM2 for the time being. So this is going to be calls to ISDN because this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be sending information backwards and forwards from that PCM2 slot. So if you can imagine on the back of your server, you've got two network adapters. One, the PCM1 is going to your inbound network, and PCM2 is your perimeter external network. So it kind of is a pass off between both of the NICs on the back of your server. So we'll start now by configuring that and getting that up and running. So for the inbound SIP connection, I've selected PCM2. I've clicked calls to ISDN. I'm going to now put my information in there. So I'm going to give it a display name of calls from SIP trunk. I'm going to put allow all. So I know for a fact that for myself, the calls from PureIP into my gateway are coming in with an E164 format. So that's the +44 and telephone number. So essentially, it's exactly the same as any other gateway. You'd put your called party number to actually do the normalization. You'd do the regex exactly the same. What I'm going to also add is the as an identifier, the actual IP address where I'm expecting to get this information from. So for me, that is, I'm going to be getting it from the IP address of 83.245.1.154. So that is PureIP's IP address. And we're just going to OK that. So allow all, as you can see, ****. Yeah, not bothered about any sort of normalizing. I'm just going to, I'm just going to allow that to come in. So we'll move on now to the internal side of things to get the call to go through to Lync. So we'll do that next. Okay, so now let's move on to that. So this is, we're going to select the PCM. So this is, if you remember, this is from the gateway to Lync. So PCM2, as we said before, is from SIP trunk provider to the gateway. So we'll now configure the PCM1. So I'm going to select that, and I'm also going to then select calls from ISDN as the option. So we're going to click on add. I'm going to call this rule calls from Lync. Well, then again, we've got the options at this point to really nail down our information what comes out of the gateway. So this could be an example where you may have one number coming in, but you want to actually change the number coming in to actually a totally different number going through to Lync. So this is where you'd set it within here. For me, I'm just going to again just allow it to do pass straight through untouched and send on to Lync. So what we need to do is we need to now put in our host information. So this is your mediation server. So for myself, if I just fire up my topology and just have a look, see what we've got set in here. So So I'm just going to rename that actually and replace it. So now our topology is opened up, just to navigate down to Lync 2013, standard edition. Navigate down to standard edition, Lync SE. So let's go back to configuration. So Lync se.northernlink.co.local, I should say. Just make sure that is correct. Yep. And for mediation services, just let's see. So I am listening on TCP 5060. As you can see, I've already got some other appliances already within my environment. Interestingly, one is an audio codes gateway, one is a Sonos SBC 1000 as well. So I've got a raft of gateways which I test with. So I don't really need to add any parameters apart from just ensuring that we are listening on TCP 5060. So we've done that. So we're almost good to go now on that. So we'll just commit it. And we'll commit that, and then we'll move now to the next step. So to make the change to the normalization in our appliance, we open up the Office Master configuration. So we'll just do that again just so you can see. So I've got it pinned to my taskbar at the bottom. Just click on it. Click on Connect. As you know, .1.63 is the appliance. I'm going to put the OMC as the password, which is the default for the Ferrari appliance. It's gone away, it's found that. Equally, I could have clicked on search and that would have brought it up as well. But I actually selected it from the Connect. So we don't need to change anything on here. OMG 4.0 is the latest firmware. The changes of the IP address, we've done all that. We've also, if you remember, we've changed the operation mode, the configuration mode. We've set login up to do all its login. So that's going to our syslog on the front end, which we will open in a second. So the next step now is to actually do the normalization. So we'll just jump into this bottom area, which is called change settings for the Office Master Gate. So we'll click on that. So this is slightly different to what you'll find with other gateways, or certainly I found different. And if you can think of it as almost a pass-off between internal and external. So what the best way to explain it is PCM1 is your connection from Lync to the gateway. PCM2 is your connection from the gateway to your SIP trunk or your ISDN E1 or T1. So we almost have to set up two rules. One is from Lync to the gateway, and then the other rule is from the gateway external to your PSTN provider. So also as well, I find the tabs a little bit, the wording on these tabs, so calls from ISDN, calls to Lync, I find them the wrong way around personally, and I've reported this back to Ferrari because it doesn't make sense to me. But we'll run through it anyway, and certainly I'll try and explain the best I can to do this. So, okay, so we're going to click on the PCM1, and we're going to click on calls from ISDN, and we're going to click on add. So, as I say, let me just move that over so we can see the screen. So, as I say, the reason why I find this a little bit backwards in its wording is it is called from ISDN, so this is kind of the second leg now. So I'm going to call this inbound from SIP trunk provider PureIP, because that's what I'm using. That's my SIP trunk of choice in my lab. At this moment, I'm just going to tell it to pass through. You know, the called party, the usual regex is pass anything and send anything. What I need to do now is where I need to tell the gateway where to send this information. So I'm going to say that it's a SIP trunk call, and I'm going to send it to Lync se.northernlink.local. Let me just see if I tell that right. Yeah. So if you can remember on the topology, we said that I was going to be talking on TCP on port 5060. Then that is the case. So at this moment, I don't have to make any other changes to that. I can just simply OK that. So that is the part, if you remember, this is the part now going as an external call coming into the gateway. So it will have come in on PCM2. That will have done some changes, which we'll go into in a second, and passed it to PCM1. And this is taking it from PCM2 to send it to Lync. So like I say, it's a bit of a handoff. It took me a little while to get my head around exactly what the actual gateway in this handoff was actually doing. So let's set up the first part as well, actually. So this is the inbound from the actual carrier. So let me just jump onto that a second. So yeah, so as you can see, we've put in our information into here now. So this is a call coming in from external. It'll firstly hit this rule. This rule will then match on our call party number and normalize it to whatever we've sent. Also, you can see we don't have to add a destination at this point, or we're not allowed to add a destination. This is coming direct in, and this is the first thing the gateway will pick up. So we're okay with that. So we're just saying it's going to come in with whatever number, and I'm just passing it through. So that'll pass through. Just to be clear, that will pass through and hit this calls from Lync. At this then, if I've matched my regex correctly, which I am because I'm just passing it through again, it's then going to send it on to my Lync user. So let's just try that just to be sure. So just committed that. Let's move that out of the way. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the syslog of the gateway now. So this is the login tool. I'm going to click on Start. So here we go. So that's started. So I'm just going to grab my mobile phone, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ring the telephone number associated with my user. So if you remember, that was 01924 842 667. As you can see, there's lots going on already. It's already listening on the gateway. So that's good news that we're the login's working. So here we go on my phone. So you might be able to hear me typing this. 924 842 667. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just open up my Lync front end client so we can just see if we get the presentation of Toast. So, well, if I type the password right, Ian. Okay, so let me just drag that over to the corner as well. Let's see if we can get that into a... Oops. Really, we want to see the Toast in the corner, so let's just move that over a bit more. Right, so there we go. Okay, so I've just typed the number in, so let me click to call that. So hopefully you'll see information in this area, and also you'll see the Toast. So let's try that. So, as you can see, we've got lots going on in the syslog here, look. We've got a presentation saying it's trying. It's found a session. It's matching it. The prac is a good sign through. It's trying. It's still trying to send it. And there you go. Our call is now routing. So, yeah, I forgot it to tell me the telephone number. So don't anybody send me any prank calls, please. Okay, so we can just stop that. So turn that off. Our Toast should disappear. It has, and as you can see, our syslog is getting quite excited at this moment because it's done a lot of work in there to show us what it's doing. I personally find the syslog excellent, actually, of the Ferrari, a lot better than what some of the other manufacturers provide. I find Sonos really good as well, but you know, you can literally click on each area here, and this will show you within the actual call tracing where it's actually committed. You see it's going down, and as you can see, I sent back a cancel, and that's been sent. So yeah, really good login on that. So at this point, we're quite happy with the external to inbound. So that came from my SIP trunk provider, hit the gateway on that rule on. Let's just run through it again, just so we're crystal clear. So that hit the rule on this calls to ISDN, which is silly because it's actually calls from ISDN. That passed it over then to the the second NIC as such, which is inbound from SIP-trunk to Lync. So that then normalized past it to the mediation server. The mediation server then did a look upon that E164 telephone number and matched it with my lab user over here and presented the call. So we was all good at that point. So what we'll do now is we'll run through the opposite way around, and that will be a call from out of Lync through to external. So we'll set that up now. What we're going to do is we're going to start the login, and we're going to make a call out of Lync to see it actually routing through to my mobile number. So I'll just turn my mobile on to hi. So we've done that. So let's go ahead now and let's just start the login. So I've opened up the syslog for the Ferrari gateway. So you click on syslog, click on start. This is now listening. So let's just jump over to our Lync environment and let me type in my mobile number 07739 788860. As you can see, that's now normalized. We're going to right and click call. So what we should see over on this pane, as you can see, the mediation server sent it now to the gateway. The gateway is now ringing through to the IP address, and as you can hear, my mobile's now ringing, and it's telling us actually that on the actual it told us it was actually ringing as well. So there you go. That's how it works. Works really well and completed. So I've just cancelled the call on my mobile number. So we should see on this screen now it will jump off as complete. Okay, so that's probably the end of this demonstration. So a couple of key takeaways here is certainly we've just got to be aware of how the routing of the two trunks work within the actual configuration. What I mean by that is if these two PCM1 and 2 are the handover, this is the bit which needs to be certainly thought about before you actually start making any normalization changes and rules in there. Apart from that, really nice installation, really well supported by Ferrari themselves. The gentleman, Johan, over in Germany, who my contact is, absolutely comes back to me within minutes with any questions I might have. So I'll put another link up to on my blog site to all the trial download. So anybody interested in their lab to go ahead and do the installation, please feel free. Also, if you've got any comments or anything, certainly come back to me. If you need any assistance with the deployment, certainly come back through my blog and I'll happy to assist where I can. Thank you very much.